Alright everyone, time to talk about Tommy Robinson again, of course. It seems that some people have basically forgotten about the issue. I think that that's highly regrettable, because it's a significant case with regards to the concept of free speech. Now, some people think that free speech and the First Amendment are the same. Well, this is the UK. The concept of free speech as a philosophical thing is not the same as any component of a constitution in the world. It's simply the concept that people should, morally, ethically, politically, philosophically speaking, be able to speak their mind. If they're not issuing a credible threat, they're not defaming someone, they're not doing anything, they're not inciting violence, that they should be able to speak as they wish. Tommy Robinson has been called a Nazi over and over again because he happens to not like the Islamic religion. He's critical of Islam as an actual religious dogma. Now, if he was critical of Christianity, I don't think anyone would be calling him names. I don't think anyone would want him getting thrown in prison for over a year. I don't think that it would have been a problem over in the UK. The fact that it's Islam, I guess, makes it different. I'm not exactly sure how. Now, he was formerly in the EDL. He was one of the founders of it, the English Defense League. So he naturally gets called a fascist and a Nazi and stuff, but it turns out that part of his legal fund is being donated to, it's actually being run by a pro-Israeli group. That is people who would fit in with the category of Zionistic individuals. How very funny is that Jewish individuals are trying to actually support Tommy Robinson while he gets basically compared to Goebbels or something. And this has happened over and over. People who speak out against the establishment, who want freedom, free expression, free press, free speech. They want to be able to defend themselves. They don't want their nation overrun. They want governments accountable, to be more transparent. They get called fascists. The problem is some of these people, they say things that come off as bigoted to some people who are on the further left, and this gets taken up like swill. The hogs come and eat the swill, the hogs being the corporate media, and then they regurgitate it all over everyone else, and then pretty soon the normies believe it. Like BuzzFeed tried to do this to me, and it doesn't work because anyone who watches my material knows that I'm basically the polar opposite of fascism. I'm a monarchist. I believe in limited government, and I want you to be able to do what you want to do if it's not victimizing anyone. The problem is, though, that these people who are propagandists, they themselves being totalitarian in mentality, they constantly defame, they constantly harangue, they're constantly trying to deplatform anyone that's using the internet to speak out, because they compete with us. When I make this video, every minute that someone is utilizing to watch this video, to interact with this video, when they share it out, that's attention. That's audience retention and time. Most importantly, time is money when we're talking about something like YouTube especially. It's time that they're not watching CNN. It's time that they're not interacting with a Fox News page. It's time they're not going to BuzzFeed or Salon. And when they spend more and more time on channels of people who talk to their audience, instead of like CNN talking at people, who do believe in free speech, who don't shut down in inconvenient comments, including ones that sometimes are outright insulting towards the uploader, it gives us a huge advantage over the corporate media. Now, Tommy Robinson's the same. Tommy Robinson ostensibly is a journalist. He went, the reason why he is in prison is that he went to cover a trial that was ongoing. The excuse was used that he was potentially going to cause a mistrial because he happened to be recording this. Oh, well, you know, it'll taint the jury pool. Now, how many people were watching the stream versus how many people who are actually constituents that could have been called forth on the jury? Probably a minuscule total, even though Tommy Robinson is well known. Maybe 1% of the local constituents ever even heard of it until it became a national issue. And they had already, by the way, they had already gagged the press from talking about the whole thing. So he gets thrown in prison for violating the terms of his release. He had been released, had a suspended sentence from before for, you know, God knows what. And I guess one of the conditions is you're not allowed to do journalism, because in the UK this makes sense. And so they threw him in the hoosegow for 13 months. Firstly, totally excessive for what was done, even if he violated that suspended sentence. Secondly, an illegitimate charge from an illegitimate judge. Third, made no sense whatsoever. The trial was not compromised, pragmatically speaking, looking at the issue as it actually is, the actual cause and effect, that didn't actually happen. So I don't know why he's still in prison. Now, he's petitioning for release. He's trying to appeal the decision. I wish him well, although in the UK I doubt he'll actually get released before he gets shanked in prison. Maybe if he gets stabbed in the kidney, maybe they'll get him out a few months early. Oh yeah, after languishing for 2 months, we'll let you out to go die in your own home, maybe. It's basically the way that Europe appears to work. The thing is, though, it's very, very funny to see a group that has ties to Israel funding him. Well, where's the Nazism? I mean, if he's like a rabid anti-Semite, he hates foreigners, he's a total bigot and everything wrong with the world, why is a firm with foreign ties, especially Judaistic ties, why are they the ones propping him up? And then, of course, you've got millions of other people doing the same, but the thing is, he's still going to get called a fascist. He's still going to get called a Nazi by people who are far left, which includes apparently the BBC, the Guardian, the Telegraph, and all these groups. They appear to all be run by socialists, which is no surprise because, you know, it is the UK after all. It's disgraceful overall. It's disgraceful that someone can have the freedom of press is stomped on. And there are actually people over there who are like, yeah, but he's kind of a Nazi, so it's okay. So your fellow citizens should be judged based on whether the government and the corporate media and the state-run media over there as well think that they're an acceptable individual with okay ideas. And if they are, then they can say kind of what they want most of the time. If not, then we can just throw them in jail, and it's okay. It's out of sight, out of mind, because, you know, it's just a bigot or something. There are people who think like that over here in the US. They want to start jailing people, or certainly it's just an extension of deplatforming them. If a person has been deplatformed off every big tech site, they can't raise money, they can't use PayPal, they can't travel freely, they can't go outside without getting harassed or punched or having shit thrown at them, that's basically, why not just throw them in prison? At that point, they're not really living a life anyway. Like, unless they have a gated community property where they can sort of take refuge and work from home, it's like pointless. You've even gotten to the point. You've gotten to the point where for certain individuals, because they are so known and so hated by so many people, they can't work from home because, you know, they're banned everywhere on the internet, so they can't make money that way. They can't go outside. They can't get a job anywhere. What the fuck are they supposed to do with their lives? I feel very sorry for people who have been raked over the coals by the corporate media, and there's still that slim population that believes the corporate media. That's the big problem. If everyone just ignored all the propagandists, this wouldn't be an issue. YouTube right now has to come to their defense, is unleashing $25 million to build up a program to push CNN and Fox and all these other groups off on independent commentators like me. Pretty soon you'll see little notifications above my videos or somewhere that'll link you to news stories of a similar nature. You know, if it's a current event, breaking news, in order to drive a little bit more audience to them so that they can make a few more dollars. Isn't that very funny? No, we should be trying to defeat that any way possible. If you look at CEO of YouTube's status about it, it's like, you know, it's one of those ratioed posts where it's like nobody likes it and everyone comments because they're like, you know, what the fuck? It's very, very funny. But Tommy Robinson, in my estimation, is no Nazi. Now, he's no fascist. He disagrees with Islamic dogma. Well, and so do I. I mean, I don't go out maybe and literally protest its existence, but I'm going to be critical of it. And if it's Christianity or Hinduism or something, nobody cares. No one bats an eye. If it's Islam, all of a sudden people think you're a racist. Meanwhile, other groups are trying to support him. I wonder why. Jews have begun fleeing Europe, not without good reason. There's a reason. I wonder what it could possibly be. Could it be a historic quarrel between two religions? Possibly, but you know, you're a Nazi if you point this out. For some odd reason, it's gotten to the point where the left thinks that if you don't hate Jews, you're a Nazi. It's actually very weird. It's very strange. I think, in a way, they're echoing Stormfront in some cases. You know, or maybe people that are, you know, too far out even for like a Stormfront group. They're like, oh, well, you don't hate this group of people enough, so there's something wrong with you. And meanwhile, Antifa and groups like that are saying the same thing. I half expect Antifa to come out tomorrow and be like, well, we're going to go after Jewish-owned shops in Europe because, you know, they're trying to prevent Islamic migration or something. It'd be very, very funny to see. That's about all. Peace out.